Hare Krishna, Namaste. It is clear from the previous answer how animal killing is not the highest religion as per the Vedas. But the question is, then why does Vedas recommend animal sacrifice? We heard that Buddhism and Jainism sprouted to condemn the Vedas for this particular reason of animal sacrifice and to establish non-violence, ahimsa. In one hand, Veda says ahimsa paramo dharmaha, that is, the highest religion is non-violence, whereas in other hand it says chalasya vapayam juhuyat, that one must offer an animal into the fire sacrifice. It speaks both violence and non-violence. How can we understand this? Answer to this question can be seen in two ways. Both, yes, the Vedas recommends the animal sacrifice, and two, no, the Vedas doesn't recommend the animal sacrifice. Now let's see the first view, that is, it is true that Vedas recommends the animal sacrifice. For that, let's take some current examples. The government set a law that no one must be murdered, killed. But the same government allows the army to kill, allows the police officer to take an action to punish someone, allows the judge of an Supreme Court to give judgment to sentence someone to death. So we see there is a law set by the government, and the same law can be bypassed by the government, which is also accepted. Second example, the king punishes a criminal because that criminal who's a murderer has taken the life of many people. But the same king, when enters the battlefield, he kills hundreds and thousands of people. This is also accepted. Let's see a third example. We know that we should not pass the red signal while we are driving. Everyone must stop when it is red. That is the law. But we see the ambulance and the fire truck doesn't stop. We also accept that. Let's see one more example. We know that taking drugs is against the law, but in some cases we see certain drugs are used in the field of medicine to cure the patients. This is also accepted. So with these four examples, we see that everyone accepts such cases which are opposite to the original set of laws, that the army can kill the terrorist, the police can take action against the criminal, the king can kill in the war, the fire truck or the ambulance can pass through the red signal, the doctors are allowed to give some amount of drug to their patients. All these are allowed for one reason, that is, it is going to create some good result. It is for some good cause, not otherwise. The government, by letting the army to kill its enemy, it's saving the country. And the king who kills hundreds and thousands in the war, it is to protect the dharma. The ambulance and the fire truck are let go during the stop signal to save someone's life. Certain drugs are administered under the purview supervision of the doctors to cure the patients. Therefore, none of these things which is totally opposite to the original laws are considered to be wrong. It is wrong if the army goes and shoots and kills people without the order of the government. It is wrong on the king's part if he goes and kills people without any reasons. It is wrong for the ambulance and fire truck to just pass the red signal without any emergency. And it is certainly wrong if the doctor gives drugs for no reason to someone. So the action itself is not bad, but the intent of that action makes it whether it's good or bad. We have kept our faith in these government, kings, doctors, etc., with whom we just have a short time relationship. They are also for only short period. But the Vedas are anadi. It doesn't have a beginning. Then we need to know how much faith that we need to keep on the Vedas. The general principle, the rule as per the Vedas is to follow ahimsa, non-violence. But the same Vedas give an opposing instruction to perform animal sacrifice, which appears to us to be ahimsa, violence. But like how we saw these examples as exceptions, which is just done for a good cause, we must also know that the instruction given by the Vedas, which looks to be opposing instruction, is actually for a good cause. Now the question may come, well, it doesn't make much sense how this is for a good cause. We know when the army fights, it's fight for its country. When the king fights, he does for his citizens. When the ambulance and fire truck does, it does for saving the life of someone. And likewise, when the doctor does, he is helping the patients. By killing an animal in a fire sacrifice, how can one say it is for a good cause? What good comes out of it? Again, to answer this, we must first accept the authority of Vedas as ultimate. And we should know that Vedas do not instruct anything bad to anyone, not to any living entities. The same Vedas also gives ways and methods by which one can progress towards the higher planetary systems for better life. In Manudharma, it is said, Ahaveshu mito anyonyam jihamsanto mahikshitaha yuddhamanaha param shaktya swargam yanti aparanmukhaha. The kings fighting each other in battle with the utmost energy, with the intent to kill the opponent without turning away, reach Swarga. And in Mahabharata, it is said, Yajñeshu pasavo brahman hanyate satatam dvijaihi samskritaha kila mantraischa tepi swargam avapnuvan. The animals which are killed by the Brahmanas in sacrifices, being purified with mantras, reach Swarga. From these two statements, it is clear that killing on the battle on the religious principles and the killing of animals in the sacrificial fire are not at all considered to be acts of violence, because everyone is benefited by the religious principles involved. If this animal which has been sacrificed in the fire going to attain Swargaloka, heavenly planet, then how can this be called as himsa, violence? Let's first of all understand the term violence, himsa. If we say that violence means, or himsa means, that which gives us trouble, that which gives us pain, if that is what we understand as himsa, then it is not a right understanding. Why? Because even doctors at times gives us pain by giving shots, giving us some treatment which really pains, by doing surgery. All these things are painful. But do we call that doctor has performed violence against us? So the real meaning of himsa, violence, is that the pain must be present in short term and also the pain must be present in long term. Not only that particular thing hurts us now, it will also hurt us in future, in long term. Then that is said to be himsa. The reason that we do not say doctors perform violence by performing surgery, by giving us shot, is because it is short term only. The pain is only for short term. Within few minutes or within few hours or within couple of days, we are free from pain completely. Therefore, it is not present, the pain is not present in long term by the act of a doctor. Hence, it is not a violence. It is not himsa. It is actually ahimsa. So from these things we can understand animal sacrifice is not himsa, it is ahimsa, for the better life of the animal which is being sacrificed, and also the person who is performing that sacrifice get benefited by attaining the heaven if that is his desire by performing the sacrifice. We accept that both parties involved in dharma yuddha attains heaven. Then what is the problem to accept that those who are involved in animal sacrifice, the performer and the animal, being benefited by attaining the heaven? In both cases, whether in the battle or whether in the animal sacrifice, it is not himsa, it is ahimsa, for the betterment of those who involved in that particular act. And the pain is short term. In long term, no pain but happiness. That is the first view, where yes, the Vedas have recommended animals to be sacrificed. Now let's see the second viewpoint, which is no, the Vedas have not allowed animals to be sacrificed. How come we just saw a statement from Vedas saying one must sacrifice an animal? Yes, but then it is not the actual animal. Rather, it is Pishtapasu, meaning the animal, a model of animal which is made out of a dough. Wherever the Vedas scripture says one must sacrifice an animal, horse, goat, etc., it is just a model of that particular animal made out of a dough. Well, how do you say that when it clearly says that animal should be sacrificed? We can learn this from the story of Uparicharavashu. He was a great king, very dharmic. Many, including the rishis and devatas, go to him if they have any doubts in the scriptures, if they have any dharma sandeha. Because of his greatness, his chariot doesn't touch the ground. It's always above the ground. Once there was a debate between the rishis and the devatas while they were ready to perform some sacrifice, whether to offer the actual animal into the fire or to offer a Pishtapasu, a model of that animal. The devatas were bent upon saying it is actual animal, not the animal made of dough, whereas rishis were bent upon saying no, it is not actual animal, it is the animal which is made of dough. So they both were not settling down. The argument were continuing. At that time they saw that the king Uparicharavashu was traveling through the skies, and they called him to settle the problem because they both had complete faith in this king, as he was respected for his character, for his knowledge, and for his practices of religion. When the king came down, then they placed their question whether to offer the real animal or a model animal. The king, who knows very well the answer to this question from the scriptures, sided towards the devatas and answered one must offer the real animal, not the doughed animal. As soon as he said this one, his chariot fell down to the ground, disapproving what he said, which means Vedas doesn't recommend a real animal into the fire. Rather, it talks about the animal which is modeled using a dough. So either way, whether it is yes or no, as per Vedas, both has its valid answers. One closing note: the Vedic sacrifice is not an ordinary performance. In those days, even the Devatas participate in such sacrifices, whereas in Kali Yuga, such animal sacrifices are forbidden. It is said, Ashwamedam Gavalambam Sanyasam Pala Paitrikam Devarena Sutotpatim Kalo Pancha Vivarjayet. In this age of Kali, 5 acts are forbidden: the offering of a horse in sacrifice, the offering of a cow in sacrifice, the acceptance of the order of sannyasa, the offering of oblations of flesh to the forefathers, and a man's begetting children in his brother's wife. So as per the yugas, the conditions, the rules also changes. So the Vedas doesn't contradict, it will not contradict, and it is the ultimate supreme authority. One doesn't have to reject the Vedas on these basis. One simply rejects the Vedas on basis of incomplete understanding of what ahimsa means. One other point to note here is, since in Kali Yuga the animal sacrifice is not allowed, that means one cannot eat meat, because one can only eat meat which is offered in the sacrifice, not otherwise. One may catch on to the point that you just mentioned the horse and the cow. What about goat? The answer is same. Nothing is allowed. Thank you. Hare Krishna.